Hello, FlossTube. It is Sunday, May 29th, 2022. Welcome to my channel, Mel of Hope Stitches, and thank you for being here. Thank you for finding me and just spending a little time. This is my fourth FlossTube after quite a hiatus. I did some at the latter part of 2021 and then took a bit of a hiatus. So thanks for being here with me. Like and subscribe if you wish. And my whole purpose for this channel is to give back to the FlossTube community. I watch a lot of FlossTubes. I learn a lot, purchase a lot more than I probably should, and just want to give back to everyone. Maybe you'll take something here that you see that you haven't thought of before. You'll see a new design. Maybe you'll see something I've done and say, oh my gosh, I never want to make that mistake, or how she did it looks horrible. Whatever works for you, but I'm just glad you're here. So to give you a little bit of a life update, things have been pretty busy. I work in education, so that takes over a bit of life. And I was finding a little momentum with my stitching. It's really my calming time and my time for myself. I enjoy creating things. I always have. I've been stitching for years and came back to it during the pandemic. And was kind of proud of myself for getting some things done. Had some full finishes in the fall. Finished up December strong. Decided to go with the Whip Go that Jessie Does Stuff presents, and made my Whip Go board and dallied a little bit with, do I do the 12 new starts, with the new year for 2022 that I saw people doing? And I decided it would create a lot of anxiety for me. I like to have under 20 whips, so I made it a true Whip Go board, and I was making some great progress, had some finishes. I've learned that I love to start big projects, which can be great, but can also be daunting because then you don't finish them. So I've learned from some other FlossTubers of some smaller patterns and some smaller projects, and I've been taking those on a little bit. But my Whip Go board is a lot of big projects. Plugging along, like I said, filling in the colors, making it all come to life, and then I had a little bit of a life happening. So back in March, I decided to take a trip and bite a little concrete and break my ulna. So I was down to one hand and struggling through just making day-to-day things happening, and then was like, how do I stitch with one hand? Because if I tried to do it with two hands, it was hurting. I couldn't even, hold a Q-snap or whatever. So I decided to bite the big one, and I've been looking at a stand for a while and just could not justify the price because I can hold my Q-snap. Why do I need it? So I used my wrist as a little bit of a excuse to be able to find this beautiful stand that I purchased from K Creations, and I love it. I got the stained version. It comes stained or unstained, and you put it together, and you can see here that you can really adjust it down any way you need to. It turns so you can see your project. You can flip it all the way over, so if you have one hand like I had, you can totally work. It takes a little bit more time and you've got to be patient, but I could stitch, so I was happy. I got my cast off about 2 weeks ago. I'm doing some therapy and things are progressing nicely, and I can now sometimes use two hands when stitching. Sometimes I'm still using one. But love this stand from K Creation. I picked it up on Etsy. So since I'm here and I have a whip here, I may as well show you this whip. So this is bringing home the tree. It is a Lori Holt, and I am stitching it on a 14 count iridescent Aida that I picked up from Fat Quarter Shop. I've had this quite a while, called for DMCs. I'm loving the way it's coming out. I primarily stitch this up north. We go up north a lot, so it's my northern stitch, and I absolutely love it. It's been a nice one. I'm getting the itch to finish it, so it might become a southern stitch every once in a while, but it really is intended to be my northern stitch. So I think I'll get into some of my whips for you right now, and you're going to see that, yep, I am the liker of big projects. So one of the stitches that I have in my Whip Go board this year is Flea Market Flowers with Lori Holt. And I did start this last year when it first came out. And what I will say is slow and steady is going to win the race, because this one is taking me a while. I'm loving it. I'm loving the colors. I'm loving what I'm doing, but it's taking me a bit of time. So this is where I am at, and this is, I had done one block for a Whipco month, and then this is the one I was supposed to finish, but then I broke my wrist. So I'm still plugging along. I'm doing this on 14 count fabric flare gray. I think it's a gray plaid they call it. It's one that Kimberly loves and recommended, and I'm absolutely loving it. So slow and steady is going to win the race of that. I'm determined. Another one of my whips is, gosh, one that I kitted up right when I came back to stitching. I loved and fell in love with Snow Village. So I bought all the Country Cottage Needleworks pieces of Snow Village, and I bought the Call for Colors, and I did it on a 18 count Petty Point Gray, which Kimberly Jolly had recommended, and I just started this in my Whipco this year. I said, you know what? So I guess this one kind of is a new start. I had 2 stitches in it, if I'm being truthful. I had 2 stitches in it from about 2 years ago. So it wasn't totally new, but it's pretty new. So I did start Village. I'm starting in the middle, and it's really been the white that I think gave me some angst, because I love snowmen, but white never seems to look as neat as I want it to look, and then I get discouraged. So I'm going to work on that, and it's going to be great. And then eventually it's going to be finished and up in my home, and it probably will be a framed piece just because of the amount of time and how large it's going to be. But again, large projects. Another one I have, so this next whip I had picked up about a year ago, and if you ever go to Las Vegas, you really need to go visit Paradise, Stitcher's Paradise. Stitcher's Paradise in Vegas is amazing. The ladies in there are so sweet. They will help you in any way they can. They have oodles and oodles and oodles of charts and fabric and fibers. It's just full of everything. And all the examples on the wall, it's every time I walk in there, I see things I never noticed before. And I will be honest, it's like going down Alice's rabbit hole. I walk in there and I can spend 2-3 hours before I walk out again and head down the sandwich shop down the street. So when I was in there, I asked if they had any Lizzie Kate charts, because I really wanted to get some, but they didn't have them out. And she's like, oh, absolutely. So she went and she pulled out like 3 buckets of Lizzie Kate projects, and I was picking out things, and then I'm like, okay, wait, I have to have a little moderation here. I can't just, pretend I won in Vegas. I've got to pick what I can afford. So I picked up a few, and one that I absolutely fell in love with was ABC Lessons by Lizzie Kate. And what was great about this is it came with all the called for colors for the floss, and I was able to pick up the button pack from Just Another Button Company. So all these motifs in here, they do put them in the stitching so you can stitch them, but since I have the buttons, I will be able to use the buttons. And I'm using, like I said, the called for colors. I am doing this on a 14 count Cafe Mocha Ada, and here is my progress so far, and I'm just loving it. It's a great reminder, and it's fun to just block out all the letters, and I'm about halfway done minus buttons. So it's coming along nicely. So I'm exciting to see that one come together, and not quite sure where I'm going to put that one, but I have a couple of ideas. My next whip is one that is really special to me. So back in the fall, I forget when in the fall, but it was in the fall, I won a giveaway from Danielle of Lovins Stitches. And I won this wonderful Serenity prayer from Erica Michaels. And my faith is really the guidepost of my life. And when I won this, I'm like, yep, meant to be. So thank you, Danielle. So I wanted a stitch for Easter Sunday, and I had my hand in a cast, and I was like, I want a new start, and this one had been calling at my heart for a while to get started. So I took it out, and I said, okay, how am I going to do this? And so I read through it, and I'm looking, I'm like, this is the Petites collection. This is supposed to be stitched on 40 count gauze. So it came with the gauze and everything. It was like a full piece of in there. And I'm like, I am up for challenges. I am up for the challenge of 40 count gauze. But I have this arm I have to contend with. So I don't know that I'm up for the challenge yet. So I decided to go into my fabric stash. I've been trying to build that, and I had gotten a couple of grab bags from BeStitch Me, and I found what is either a 18 or 20 count neutral from BeStitch Me, hand dyed. And so I've started the Serenity prayer on here, and it's going to be a little bit bigger, but I'm loving the way it's coming out. And my goal is to stitch this and put it in my office, and then I will go back and stitch it on the gauze it came with. And it is a prayer I will stitch more than once, I am sure. I decided to use sulky threads for this, so I pulled out a yellow, a nice berry red, and then 2 of what they call blendables. And the sulky blendable cottons are variegated. So there's a variegated blue and there's a variegated green. And I'm going to hold this back up because you can really see the variegations when you look at the green. You can see the lights and the darks. So I'm loving the way it's coming together, and I'm loving the 1 strand of sulky on this either 18 or 20 count Aida that I'm using. So sulkies are pretty new to me. I am enjoying using them, and the sulky cotton petites kind of came to light for me. I think I was watching Steel City Stitchers last year after they went to StitchCon, and they talked about them, and I was like, I really want to get some of those. But what 5-pack do I buy, and how do I know what colors I want? So I kind of hemmed and hawed and, looked at them every once in a while, but then didn't really do anything about it. And then was picking out some possible Christmas gifts for myself, and happened upon a great sale. I think it was Amazon. It was probably Black Friday or one of their many days of sales. And I found they have 2 kits, these petite sulky kits, and there's a Dream Assortment 1 and a Dream Assortment 2. And like I said, I got a really great deal on this. And so now I'm doing some of my stitching with sulky conversions, and I love just kind of like I do with my DMC, just kind of open it up and look at it. This is a little better organized than my DMC. I'm going to get to that soon. My son gave me a Mother's Day gift that's going to help me, but I'm really enjoying the sulkies right now, so that's exciting. So those are my whips. Now what I'd love to do is share with you some of my full finishes. They're not FFO'd. So I was chugging along, like I said, in the fall with some finishes and even the beginning of the year. And I was like, I'm just going to put them in a pile. And then I'm going to have a day where I'm just going to stitch, and I'm going to make pillows, and I'm going to do all these fun things, and I'm going to fully finish all my objects, and then I'll have lots of them. And at the same time, I was starting to hem and haw about what I am going to stitch for my Smalls Exchange at StitchCon, because I'm so excited to be going to StitchCon for the first time in June. So I was doing all this thinking, nothing's going to stop me in life. This is my plan. Well, then that kiss of the concrete with my wrist kind of stopped me in my tracks. So I have gotten 1 full finish done, which I do not have with me. I have a picture of it. I'll share it in a future FlossTube. It is a birth announcement. But I do have some things that do need to be FFO'd, quite a few actually. So let me share some of those with you. Some of them were done before the new year, and some of them have been done since the new year. So the first one I'm going to show comes from this cute Lizzie Kate booklet called Winter Crazy. And the only one I've done so far is this one called Winter, and I did it on a mystery blue Aida that I have with sulkies. And so this was my first time using my sulkies, and I love the way it came out. I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do with these. I think I'm going to make them into pillows or something. The next ones I have are from the Snapshot Club that Fat Quarter Shop did last year, where they had the Sandra's Pine Mountain Design club. It was a kit with the club, but Kimberly Jolly changed the colors to kind of modernize them a little bit. So I did a great job purchasing them. I have not done a great job finishing them. So I have 2 months done, and these thanks to WhipGo, I have 2 months done. So one is January. You can see it here. Love it. And the other I finished is February. Whoops, I don't have it the right way. Let me do this again. Whoops, getting caught up on my things here. Here's February, which again, super cute. And I have not finished them yet, but I did pick out the frame. I got this, I want to say it was I'm pretty sure it was Hobby Lobby where I bought this frame. And I just loved this kind of white woody look. I haven't decided if I'm going to keep the glass in the frame or not. I think I might take the glass out and use magnets, because it will be easier to change it every month than if I keep the glass on there. So that's my thought. This was, I believe it's Lori Holt's Oatmeal Even Weave 10 count that this is on. And you know, it really was different stitching on this because it's such a chunky stitch. You use 3 strands of DMC. I'm using all the colors. They came in the kit, but I love it. It stitches very quickly, and so I'll be stitching up some more of those months soon. So those are a couple of my finishes. A few others here, because like I said, I have quite a stack of them. When I was in Vegas last time, I was able to get this Jelly Bean Jubilee book from Brenda Gervais at Stitcher's Paradise, and I've stitched up a couple of these, and I've stitched them on a 14 count Ada. The color is Celadon or Celadon, I'm not quite sure how to say it, but I stitched up, let me find my notes so I can tell you the right charts from the book. I stitched up this little Easter Parade, super cute. You can kind of still see my Q-snap. Sorry, I did not iron it yet. Again, I did these on my sulkies, with my sulkies, I should say. And this one is called Jelly Bean Delivery, super cute. So again, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to, if I want to put these on blocks or like in little pillows that I can put in a little basket for Easter. We have a couple baskets that are old-fashioned ceramic baskets that relatives made us, so they might go in there. I'll figure it out. And I do have some plans to stitch a couple more from there on that same Celadon, so we'll go together. And then I had, since I came back to cross stitch, I really wanted the Early Americans series from Little House Needlework. And on one of my trips to Vegas, I bought the bullet, so to speak, and I decided to buy them all. So I bought all of the Early Americans, and I bought the Tin Ruth 30 count fabric from Weeks Dye Works linen to stitch on. And then I got a little nervous about the linen and cutting this beautiful piece of linen up, because I'd already decided these are going to be pillows. They were not going to be one big stitch. They were going to be in small pillows. So I did stitch up Betsy Ross. Sorry that she's not ironed, but there she is, and I love her. I did not use called for colors. I did it from my stash. I tried to stay true to the muted colors that the designer planned for, but I have brightened some of them up a little bit, or maybe not brightened. Maybe the better word is there's a deeper depth to some of the colors, so they're not quite as muted. But I loved it, and this linen was a dream to stitch on, and I'm really excited because Jessie called the colors for, not the colors, she called the numbers for June 2 days ago, and one of them is another Early American. So I'm going to finish up my small for StitchCon, which I'm working on diligently, and as soon as that is done, I'm going to pick up my next Early American. I don't know if I want to go in order, or maybe I'll just pick the one that moves me. We'll see. So that is another FFO there. So those are, no, it is not an FFO. It is a finish, but it is not fully finished yet. Someday it will get done. The last thing I wanted to talk to y'all about today is some of my haul. And it has been a long time since I have done a floss tube, and I'm not going to go into all my haul. I do still belong to the Color and Cotton Thread Club, which I love, but I know those are all over on FlossTube, so I'm not going to share that. I would love to get into their fabric clubs, but they're just impossible to get into. Someday I will get into it, and I was fortunate enough to pick up a couple of their fabrics that were extras or something. So I do have a couple fabrics from there to share with you. And I had really last year worked on building my thread stash, and now I had been in the Weeks Dye Works Club as well as the Color and Cotton Club. But between those and my DMCs and my sulkies, I feel like I've got a lot of thread now. I'm still in Color and Cotton, but I did get out of the Weeks Dye Works one for now, and I might go back in it, but I really wanted to concentrate on fabrics. And I've been toe dipping into linens, and I did purchase some Luganas and some other even weave, maybe Monaco I think is what it's called, so that I can try something different to see how I like it. But I love Ada, and so I'm happy with what I stitch with. It's my project. I'm gonna make it the way I want to. I did pick up through Color and Cotton and I apologize for the glare. I don't want to make the noise and take these out, but this is Pampas Grass. It was an extra that they had, and it's an 1/8 of a yard of 28 count Lugana, so I can't wait to try that out. And I picked up Sunnyside 20 count Ada, which to me, this is such a fun yellow color because it's bright, but it's not crazy bright. Not quite sure what project I'm going to do on it yet, but we'll figure that out. I also, in trying to find some great clubs to build my stash with that were hand dyed, I came across 2 recently that I'm loving. One I've been in a little bit longer, and so I think I've got about 4 months worth, but I'm going to share what I got this past month. BeStitch Me is just an amazing, amazing club. I have the Ada 14 count right now, and look at this. It is called Rainy Day from the amazing lady with BeStitch Me, and it's just gorgeous. Brandy is her name, and her dyeing of her fabrics is amazing. I love it. I'm so glad I'm in this club. I did the brights because I don't know. I needed a bright club, and I may, as I stitch on Lugana, I might switch this club from Ada to Lugana, but right now I'm getting the Adas, and they're just scrumptious, I guess is the word I would use. Another club I came across from a floss tube is Treehouse Fiber Arts, and these ladies are just amazing. They do have a floss tube that I've watched and learned about them, and one of them does a lot of hand dyeing, and the other one works more on the stitchy end of things, but their hand dyeing is also yarn. So if you are a knitter and you haven't discovered them, oh, yummy yarns is all I can say. I joined their Ada club, so they call it the LFA Linens Club, and I joined for 16 count Ada. It comes out quarterly, so it's just 4 times a year. It's a little pricier because your cuts are much bigger. You get a fat half. And you guys, I got this in the mail. It was the first time I got it, and I was like, what's it gonna be? What's it gonna be like? And it's so sweet. They take the time and they come up with a whole story behind their fabric. So the color this month is Schooner, and they're all naturals. So this is Schooner. So this April club is homage to the schooner and its rich history and importance to New England. So they tell us about a schooner. They talk about how Sue dyes the colorway. So it says that it acts as a beautiful cheery neutral for samplers and modern pictorial designs. They talk about the base and the shades. The detail is amazing to me. Part of our craft, right? They have a beautiful poem from William Wordsworth and talk about the history of schooners in New England. So let me show you this piece. And I know this camera is not going to do justice, but it's a very buttermilky base, and there's almost the deeper parts of it are like a bright manila envelope. And I'm not going to open the whole piece up because it'll be too large, but look at this neutral. Is it not just gorgeous? And like I said, it is a fat half. It is huge. I'm going to be able to do so many projects on that, and I'm so excited. And then they threw in Wavy Navy because it's all about, Navy and ships and schooners and ocean, and I loved it. I loved the detail to the packaging, the detail to the story behind it. So if you have not checked out Treehouse Fiber Arts, head on over to them. Like I said, I've only been in this club a little short time, but I love it already. And I have not bought kits from them, but their kits are like kitted like no other. They have everything you can imagine, and they've got some different things. So they're a lot of fun. So head over and see them. And then we all know Nashville Market happened. And I was trying really, really hard not to buy things because I have a lot. I haven't started yet. I have a lot I've probably even forgotten about. So I was trying not to buy things. There were a couple things that caught my eye that I did purchase. And one is this beautiful Madonna and Child by Teresa Kogut. I have not picked out my fabric yet. I have not kitted the DMC. I've only gone as far as purchasing it and then getting a little overwhelmed when I read the detail in the chart. But I'm so excited for this. I have the place in my home where it's going to be. I'm excited to stitch and pray. So this is beautiful. Thank you for Teresa for charting this. I'm really excited for it. The other one that I picked up, I saw it around a lot. It was a Nashville Market exclusive, so I did decide that I needed to get it, and I believe I bought it from Hollis Hand Creates on Etsy, and it is This Is the Day. I know you guys have seen this all over the place, so I'm not going to take too long. I've kitted it all up, and then for my fabric, I decided to follow Danielle from Lovins Stitches advice, and I went and got the same material, the Lugana that she decided on, which was a picture this plus Lugana in Legacy. So 28 count Legacy picture this plus. Like I said, I haven't started it yet, and I know she already ran into needing some more floss, so I will definitely be getting some more floss to go with that, but that's one I'm going to start soon. I just need to get a couple things underway and make sure I'm ready for StitchCon, which is important. And I think my next new start is going to be one that has some coverage that's a block, so I can outline it, and when I'm at StitchCon can just be stitching without having to be counting, because that's some advice I have seen others give on FlossTubes. So that's where I'm looking for, so that I can be comfortable and having fun at StitchCon and getting things done. And I'm going to bring something that's almost finished so I can ring the bell, because that's the other thing I heard about. I have a couple more things to share. So Mother's Day was not too long ago, right? And I got 2 amazing gifts from my son. So my mom makes me a lot of my project bags. And next time I do a floss tube, I'm going to show you some of them because they're amazing. But my son picked me up a gingerbread one from Creative Carol. So I'm so excited because I have some gingerbread stitches in the works. So I'm very excited to be able to use this stitching bag, and I've also been looking for a way to organize my DMC thread without spending oodles of money. I had looked at a couple of systems that people have that have beautiful acrylic floss tabs. I don't even know what you bobbins that you can wind on from. They come over from Europe, but they're pricey, and I'm like, you know what? I've already got them on cardboard, and that's okay for me right now. But I found the Tidy Stitch on Etsy, and I watched her stuff for a little bit. She's a small business, and she creates these little cards. And let me see if I can, sorry for the crinkle, I haven't really taken these out yet because I haven't had time to work on them, but she creates these cards that will take a color family and put it together. So this is one, it's avocado, and it's telling you all the different DMC colors that would fall under that color family. And her suggestion is to put them by color family, and you put these cards in front of the color family so you kind of know where you're going within your boxes. And so my son got me this for Mother's Day as well, and it comes with her whole family organization system. She prints you out her groups and how she groups her bobbins, and she suggests you start there, and it has the DMC colors. Not only does it have the number, but it has the actual color name, which is so hard to find sometimes on DMC. So I am excited. This is a project when I get home from StitchCon. I am going to work on getting my DMC organized using the Tidy Stitch materials. So thank you for that, Brittany, for bringing Tidy Stitches for life, and to my son Andrew for getting me some fun for Mother's Day. That is all I have for you guys for today. Thank you for sticking it out with me. Thanks for visiting. If you've got comments, suggestions, anything for me, I appreciate it. Thanks for spending some time with me. Make it a great week. Enjoy your loved ones. Take some time for yourself. And have a great one, and thank you for being part of the FlossTube community.